Akwaba, and Yanadafo. Maybe I can mean Mudaminja Mediane. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the facts according to Burma Kobnaiboa. I am Burma Kobnaiboa, Mississippi. These are the facts according to me. Need I remind you that this is an Afrocentric political and current affairs program. Me try say ebiana ene your first time I will share Jumadiwe. Na Jumadiwe eya bibi man ho nsem amanyosem ene nsensem a esisi ewo Ghana ha ne bibi man ni wiase nyina ho adesua ne ebesua. Me wo ha me somo say ebesua ade. Wo me nua bema ne me nua ba ene ntina ya ba ha ebesua ade. And that political aspect of the program. I mean, today I'm here to serve you with the knowledge of politics, as this is an Afrocentric program, political and current affairs program. So the topic for today is coup d'etat or revolution, the difference between the two. Coup d'etat or revolution, the difference between the two. And we're covering this subject because of the recent happenings, specifically in Burkina Faso, as in a captain of the Burkina Faso army, Captain IBRAHIM Traoré, recently staged a coup against military leaders who had earlier staged a coup, so he overthrew them. And what turned out to be a coup d'etat is transformed into a revolution, in the sense that the West, specifically France and America, are hunting Captain Traoré for the coup he staged in Burkina Faso, and the whole black community around the world are rallying behind this Captain IBRAHIM Traoré of Burkina Faso. That what turned out to be a coup d'etat is now obviously a revolution. So we got to cover this pertinent subject. So let's get to it. Coup d'etat and revolution, what are the difference? So coup d'etat is a French word. It originated from France in the 18th century, when Napoleon Bonaparte, General Napoleon Bonaparte, staged a coup to overthrow the monarchy of France, and he became the leader. And since then, many coups in the 1920s, early 20s or mid 20s, a man called Adolf Hitler of Germany staged a coup. He was a military man, he staged a coup. So coup is synonymously and specifically done by military men. Military men, that's coup d'etat. So the word coup is a military term. When a small group of military men in the army think themselves of knowing better or can do better, so they stage an uprising on the ruling government of the day or the power of the day. When they overthrow the power of the day and install themselves as the new ruling power, not necessarily changing the system, but just changing the power figure of the system. That is what coup d'etats are about. On the other hand, revolution is a mass gathering. Revolution happens when a lot of people, a mass of people, specifically citizens of a country, mass together to overthrow the ruling class of the day or the power of the day. When citizens from different parts of a domain or country or sovereignty mass or organize and coordinate their action to overthrow a ruling government, that's when revolution happens. So the simple difference here in the definition is that coup is done by a few with force, and coup is predominantly bloody. It means if you're muja ye coup biya amanfu, especially omo mudi adie ye tu omo afi aban so no omo eno ye de omo ba for de nti moja hwegu ewo abantuguom yesono abantuguo na sono atuatie ewo brofo mu ye revolution na abantuguo ewo brofo mu ye coup d'etat. yɛma yi mu Ghana ha yɛhu abantuguo fi Kwame Nkrumah besi J.J. Rawlings. Ɔmo nyinaa yɛ abantuguo. Atuate baako pɛ na wom. Ne obetua atua baako pɛ ɔno ne General Achampong. Me mamba ha sɛ maybe mouth definitions of a coup d'etat and a revolution. Maybe mouth definition of atuate ne abantuguo. Maybe show difference between atuate and abantuguo. I'm not here to just spew out the definitions of coup d'etat and revolution to you. I'm here to explain to you the context, what it means when they use coup d'etat or revolution. So the purpose, not the definition, describes or determines what a coup d'etat or a revolution is. So let's look at it. When a small group of military people do a bloody coup to overthrow the government of the day, and when they overthrow the government, they don't change the system. And the reason many or all coups happen, that first is to blame for the economy. When those coup makers think that the economy is not moving as it should move, or the ruling class are not ruling the domain as it should be. So they think they can do better, so they change the ruling class, not necessarily the system. So synonymous with coups is that when a system goes under coup d'etat, you see all the assets of the system. The economy of that system keeps going down. There's no improvement. The system keeps getting worse. But on the other hand, in a revolution, the whole system, including the ruling class, is changed. So there's a whole system overhaul, that what the people didn't like and consider to be an affront for them to overthrow the ruling class, they seek to amend it or change it. So there's a systemic overhaul when revolution happens. So in Ghana here, we've seen the first government of President Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. When he was overthrown, his industrial government was overthrown. Everything started falling. Things didn't get better. All the industries started being privatized. Every state asset was privatized into private hands. It became a state capture for friends and family, cronies, to capture the state for themselves until another system or the people overthrow them. And when a revolution happens, the power is given to the people. What didn't belong to the people that prompted the coup becomes the overhaul in the system, is what they change. So when the economy didn't belong to the system to prompt the revolution, you will see everything being returned to the people. Power to the people means the economy is determined and dictated by the people of that domain, the people who live in the country. It means they are not a semi-colony or neo-colony, that their resources are used to enrich other metropoles, but they will have the power to control their means of production in that domain. So revolutions are positive, usually positive outcomes, whereas coup d'etats are very negative. So in Ghana here, we've seen so many coups. Even the latter, J.J. Rawlings, terms his June 4th coup d'etat as a revolution, which in essence is not near any revolution. It was simply a coup d'etat because the economy wasn't controlled by the people. The power wasn't given to the people when the coup d'etat happened. The court system, the system or the domain became a dictatorship, in the sense that the court system and all was suspended and abandoned. The ruling coupist, or the people who made a coup, usually judges everybody according to their discretion. And it is synonymously bloody. So only one person General Ignatius Kutuachampo, who did a coup d'etat in Ghana here, and it turned out to be a revolution in the sense that he sought to return everything, the power to the people, by even seeking to bring us the post of Sergeant Dr. Kwame Nkrumah back to Ghana as the president again. But Osajifo was not in good health to be able to return to be the president again. So that, in its sense and purpose, can't be determined or defined as a revolution. So revolution serves the interest of the majority, whilst the coup d'etat serves the interest of a minority, an oligarchy, a group of friends and allies who take over the system and everything in the system, neglecting the people, the very people they sought to overthrow the erstwhile system for. So there are different types of coup d'etats. There's palace coup, and palace coup is when the person or the leader makes an uprising to overthrow a system, usually military leaders, and when they take over the system, his allies or friends whom came to power with him will conspire to overthrow that leader again. And that is a palace coup, when your own allies or friends conspire to overthrow you as a leader after making a coup. And that is palace or house coup. And we have a bloodless coup or silent coup, in the sense that in the bloodless coup, there is no bloodshed. Nobody gets killed. The power that was overthrown are usually pardoned and abandoned, not exterminated. That is silence or bloodless coup, and there's been only one bloodless coup in the history of Ghana. When we talk about that, we're talking about General Ignatius Kutuachampo and his National Redemption Council. They killed nobody. They didn't kill Buzia, Prime Minister Buzia, when they overthrew him. But the subsequent coups by Free Fire and others, and Jerry John Rawlings and his cronies were bloody. It was bloody. And there's self-coup. There's a coup d'etat called self-coup or auto-coup. Auto-coup is when the leader comes to power through the gun, through coup d'etat, but refuses to give the power to the people. So he changes the constitution, he abandons the law or the people's power to install himself as the leader for life. He does not make any availability for elections or returning the power to popular balloting or popular election for the people's own leadership. That is auto-coup. And auto-coup necessarily doesn't mean a military leader coming to power. A constitutional leader who was elected by the people and comes to power and changes the constitution to extend his power before him, to extend his stay in power. That is an auto-coup. And auto-coups can be said that when former President Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah came to power, he wanted to be the president for life. So they charged him for an auto-coup, that he has changed the constitution or amended the constitution to extend his stay in power. That is an auto-coup or self-coup. And there is dissident coup. In my opinion, that is the most powerful. And the dissident coup is when a group of people, especially the citizens or the youth of a system, doesn't agree with the direction of the system in their domain and mass up in a form of protest until the leader relinquishes his power. Until the leader relinquishes his power to the people. That usually is a dissident coup, and usually it is bloodless too. And with that, the power returns to the people. So in going through the explanations and all, in revolution is done by a majority of people, but usually started by one person or a few group of people who extend the knowledge of the pertinence of that revolution to the masses, and the masses coordinate their efforts and power to overthrow the power that be. So revolution always overhauls the system. There is a systemic change when revolutions happen. And even though a soldier or an individual who does a coup d'etat can turn it into a revolution by giving the power to the people. What do I mean by giving the power to the people? For example, when a leader does coup d'etat with his cronies and allies to come to power, and he makes arrangement in the interim period for the people to choose their own leader, that can be termed as a revolution. Or when a coup d'etat happens and the economy of the people is returned back in the hands of the people of that domain, that they control their own economy, they sever ties with their colonial exploiters, or the metropole exploiting their resources. When the coupists sever ties with them and return the resources in the hands and in the collective progress of the people, that becomes a revolution. And case in point is what is happening in Burkina Faso. Yes, IBRAHIM Traoré came through a coup d'etat. It may be bloody, yes, but the outcome can be defined as a coup d'etat. He didn't do it for him and his friends alone. He returned the power to the people by controlling the means of production, letting the people of Burkina Faso control their means of production. What do I mean, means of production? There are certain needs all society needs or require. All society needs shelter, all society needs food, all societies need clothing, all societies need entertainment, all societies need schools, education, all society needs work. And these must be provided by the system or the government or the day by the people themselves. So they need clothes, yes, they must be able to industrialize to produce clothing for themselves. If they don't industrialize to produce their own clothing, they must or they will import second-hand clothing, not brand new clothing, second-hand clothing, because they couldn't buy the brand new clothing from outside. So they would buy second-hand clothing to clothe their citizens. And that happens a lot in Africa, especially what we know here in Ghana as a case in point. Obroniwa force, yes, because Ghana ni bia hia atade from president to ne owo kwan ho obia hia atade nanso yen produce ntade wa ha yen tade no ye krafi abrochire ena abrochire na ye krafi no omum yentimi nto brand new nti omuma ye ne ye friend no of force second hand ne obroni na hye ne ho fifire ama edu winter ana season na so san ntade no ma ne obawro agu no na yakokraba eno na amanfo ehye yehia aduane nti ye wo se oman no yema amanfo yemfu ne ya yedua yenduane nanso enya ne nesi ye kra nduane nti ye kra nduane no yenya nduane no se ne ayepe no one yenya ne ebema ye apomuden a yehia na yenya no dodo a yehia ebema ya hoto. So what I'm trying to say is the system, when it's revolutionary, yes, the people control the means of production. They produce what they need according to the theory of needs. They will produce their own needs to satisfy their needs in the quality they want. If it is not revolutionary and it is coup d'etat system, then everything is externalized. The needs of production is sought outside, and when the means of production or the needs of a people is externalized, they are fed with substandard goods. They become a consumer economy, and that is synonymous with all coupist system. But the story of Ivory Coast and Ibrahim Traoré is proving to be different. He is proving to be a socialistic leader in the sense that even though he's a soldier and came through power through the gun, he's returning power to the people through his own means and the best way he can. And since the West, the bane of the West is that they abhor any leader who tries to give the power to his people in the African continent. They want to keep us as a consumer economy. So any leader who tries to make us an industrial economy is an enemy to the West. And the enemy of our brother should be our enemy. That is why there is a collective effort around the world for Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Every citizen, every country should be given the right to express their sovereignty, especially in the 21st century of 2025. Every country, every nation must be given the power to determine their own future. And if the people of Burkina Faso are not angry or are not dissatisfied with the system or the governance of Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, then the world should stay off that country. His coup has turned out to be a revolution. Yes, we need political education to understand subjects like this. Otherwise, the conventional media will feed us into the narrative of the West that the leaders, their enemies, should be our enemies. But that shouldn't be the case. It should be the total opposite. That the enemy of our brother should also be our enemy. As they say in Ghana, but in 2025, because next time so that prompted the education between the two systems. And coup or revolution, I must repeat, is not determined by their definitions, but rather determined by their purposes. By their purposes, what the coupists or the people who commits the coup d'etat, what they intend to use the power for, will determine if it's a revolution or it's a coup. And we know everyone worldwide abhors coup d'etats, including us, we Africans. We abhor, we hate coup d'etats. Yes, we all hate coup d'etats, but we love revolution because revolutions tend to bring systemic change. Revolutions tend to change a system for the good. Revolutions are what it tells of their name. They are revolutionary. They upturn systems. And that is what is happening in Burkina Faso. And that is what Africa needs. Revolutions that we need, we are not begging it from the military, no, but we are begging it from our own people with a consciousness and political education to stand for their right and what is good and what is best for them and for posterity. Because nation building is not only now, nation building should be futuristic. nation building should be scientific. So in the 21st century, in 2025, every political system must be scientific. And the means to that political power, it could be coup d'etat, it could be revolution, but its practice would determine if it is a coup d'etat or a revolution. So need I to say again that what we are seeing in Burkina Faso is outwardly a revolution. That what started as a coup d'etat, that made the world raise their eyes that they've got another puppet to replace another overthrown system, turned out not to be so. That this is really a clarion call for all Africans to stand up for their right, not necessarily the military, but the citizens of Africa, as we are all gathering for the revolution of IBRAHIM Traoré of Burkina Faso. We gotta have political education, because a great man once said that, "Seek ye the political kingdom first, and all things shall be added unto you." That quote is from Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and that is what Captain IBRAHIM Traoré of Burkina Faso is doing. He's seeking the political kingdom first, then build everything else, as he's practically doing. And the whole continent is united behind Captain IBRAHIM Traoré and Burkina Faso. The people of Burkina Faso deserve to determine their own future, either good or bad. They need to determine their own future, and the whole continent support it, especially the teeming youth of the continent. We support that. When we support revolution everywhere on the continent, especially now in Burkina Faso. So this is the pertinent subject that Burkina Faso has compelled me to bring to you. Don't let the conventional or mainstream media fool you that any leader voted for in Africa here is better than Captain IBRAHIM Traoré of Burkina Faso. No, don't let them fool you. It is the outcome of what he does or he will do with the power that will determine if any other leader is better than him or not, compared. So this has been the facts according to Barima Kobnayabo. And this show, follow, subscribe, watch, share, like, comment, let's interact, let's learn together. My name is Barima Kobnayabo. Thank you.